Hi everyone, I'm Nadia, and in today's video I'm going to be making a set of coasters and a wine glass holder with dried flowers. Most of the flowers that I'm going to be using were dried using a microwave, and if you're interested in seeing how, make sure to check out my last video. I'm starting off with a little bit of prep work. I've sorted my flowers to the side and now I'm going to be arranging them in the molds. If you're interested in buying these molds, I'm going to have affiliate links in my description, so make sure to check that out. I'm moving the flowers from the table into the molds with tweezers, and this is because dried flowers can break very easily. I'm also trimming any flower stems or leaves to make them the exact length that I want. And I decided to bring in some of these flowers that I had pressed in a book to bring in a little bit more color. These flowers dried quite dark. They were originally more vibrant, but it still makes for a nice addition. I decided to add some dried pink flower petals to add a little bit more color, and then I continue with arranging the flowers and the leaves until I'm happy with how it looks. Now I'm moving on to the wine glass holder, and I wasn't really sure how I was going to place the flowers in this mold, but I started placing them in the center and I ended up liking how that looked, so I just went with it. Now I'm going to be adding some small pieces of shattered mirror, and I take some into the palm of my hand and just sprinkle it into the mold to get a good idea of what that will look like. Then I started to mix my part A and my part B resin. And I'm mixing a rather small amount because I want to first cast the flowers in a thin layer of resin so that they don't rise to the top. Once I was done mixing my resin well for about 3 minutes, I started to pour it into the molds, and I was careful to pour it very slowly so that it doesn't move the placement of the flowers. Then I used a torch gun to pop any air bubbles, and I'm being very careful that I'm moving my torch gun very fast so that I don't accidentally burn any of the flowers or leaves. Also to be sure that I'm not burning the resin or the silicone molds. And with a wooden stick, I'm adjusting the placement of the shattered mirror pieces. I added a few more pieces and then adjusted the placement of the flowers with the wooden stick as well. Then I left to allow that first layer to get tacky, and I should have waited at least 3 hours, but I'm a very impatient person and my mom would back me up on that, so I waited around 2 hours, and at this point the resin wasn't tacky enough, so when I poured the resin, the flowers did rise to the top, but it ended up being okay. After mixing my resin again, I poured the second layer, and again I'm pouring very slowly to be careful that I'm not moving the placement around too much. I used the wooden stick to adjust the flowers and push them back down. Some of them rose to the top and some didn't, which actually made for a cool 3D effect. I continued to push down the flowers with the wooden stick, and every time I would push down a flower, it would release air bubbles, so I made sure to pop those air bubbles with my torch gun before leaving it to cure. And here's a clip of me demolding the coasters and the wine holder. added a heat and dent resistant top coat, and here's the final product. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Follow me on my Instagram, Summer Girl Designs, and my mom's Instagram, Wild Heart Resin Art.